Kwaje. All right. Welcome again to the Journey podcast. My name is Manzimba and I'm your host. And I'm so excited, guys. I'm happy to be back here, Today I have a big brother of mine in the house, someone I respect a lot.
Thank you so much.
The one and only Willy Karekezi.
Thank you so much, Doctor.
Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. How are you doing?
I'm doing deeply good.
Yeah,
very busy, but I'm not complaining. It's always good to be busy.
Bless, Alhamdulillah. For people listening to us, Willy Karekezi is an amazing artist. I've known him like almost a couple of years ago, Yeah, so many years ago, right? Yeah. So, and people who love art, who love fine art, I'm sure if you've heard of Willy Karekezi or you've heard of Indiba Arts Space, then like who you're talking about, So
vibes.
Now I want us to talk about Willy's journey, like Willy Karekezi. How did you actually become an artist? Was it something that came from your family? Was it something that you actually started when you were so young, Before we met, because when I met you were already an artist.
I believe art is something I was born with, because as much as I can remember, I was creating, painting, sketching. So I can say it's something I was born with, but I don't know anybody in my family who used to do art or painting or any other sort of art. So I don't know, that's one of my main inspiration, because I'm trying to find myself mainly from my genes. So I'm doing researches on where I come from, because there's a big part of my life which is missing. So I'm trying to put the puzzle together.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you feel like art brought you an identity to your life?
Actually, I'm trying to find my identity. So that's the reason of myself creating more and more, and it's kind of self-discovery, because that's my main way to recreate. Because let's say on one part, I don't know much about my mother, and most of the work you see, there's so many women in my work, and that's a big missing part in my creation. So most of the time you will see that, and then that's how I try to push myself and beyond. So on this time I'm on that level, but I'm planning to push beyond and go to the grandmothers, go deeper, because we don't have information on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very interesting, because every time I talk to artists, we all have different inspiration, different driven reasons why we're doing what we're doing, Now I want to go back, this place, Nyakabanda, you had your art space there. That was in Indiba already?
No. That was my father's home, and it was a way of. We was in the middle of big issues of life, and then they get me a house where I should stay, and that place helped me to push beyond, because I wanted to be somebody, because I wouldn't ask for something and get it. So I wanted to create something that directly goes out to the world and define me. So I wanted to be defined by my work.
Amazing. Because I remember you had a lot of work in that house, I remember in the living room, in the corridor, and
the backside.
Yes. So from there, now you are an artist, you are expressing yourself. Because I don't remember the journey well, because I saw you also at the same time. You were among the first artists who went abroad in our generation. There was you, there was Jack. Something was happening with photography at the time. I feel like it was the same time.
Yeah. That's actually, that was the same school. We used also to study in the same school. So it was the time when we needed revolution in art, because we wasn't being appreciated enough in a way. I think for us it became an inspiration, because we were seen like people who want to do art, but we're not willing to do art. So for us, we had to show the change. We wanted to show that we want to go, we want to show that we can do something. So during that time, I remember my main motivation. I was working in a gallery, and one guy was like, "You are not an artist." And for me, I felt so bad because I was like, why did he say that I'm not an artist, and what defines an artist? So for me, when I'm thinking about that, and I thought about what defines an artist is by work and their thoughts. So for me, I was like, my thoughts will be in my work. So that's when I started to try to put all my thoughts on canvases, paper, everything I was seeing around, I was putting something so that I can show my thoughts. So that's why I had a lot of ideas and a lot of madness in my mind. So I was just putting out there. So it's kind of also trying to discover myself, because I know this proverb, they say like practice make perfect. When you're working so much, sometimes you see the mistakes and then you correct. So for me, it was the main motivation. It wasn't about, I just wanted me to show myself as an artist, but today, the thing was, that time I wanted to be named an artist, but today I feel like I'm not an artist enough. So I always I'm seeking of knowing and exploring more and more.
So it's a whole journey.
I think it's gonna be the whole life. My life is about discovering more and more, because if today we are born, you know that you can't cook, and tomorrow you can cook, means there's so many things you can do, and you can still know how to do. So I mean, life is about discovering yourself, discovering what you can do. Because one day I was talking with an elder. He told me in life we have 4 parts of things. There's things you know about you. There's things you know that I know about you. There's things I know about you and you don't know. And there's things you don't know and I don't know. That's the reason we keep moving, because you don't know what you can do. So you always try to seek for what you can do, and then when you know that, it goes in another box. So always there is an empty box which we never know. So when you know it, goes in the other box where you know, or somebody knows about you, thing like this. So that's box where you don't know and other people doesn't know. That's the reason to live, because we keep trying to seek of what is in there. Yeah. Amazing.
You know, every time I look at you and I look at your work and I look at the way how he has grown, you know, like he has really grown, you know, because I remember that time in Nyamirambo when you were at your father's house, you know, I see all the work, and then I see the time you had an exhibition, your first exhibition. I don't know if it was your first, but abroad. Was it in Germany?
No, in Austria, but it wasn't my first exhibition.
That was not your first.
That was like my 6 years.
But that was your first one abroad.
Yeah, that was my first one abroad.
Yes.
Yeah.
So how did you see like art now taking it abroad? How did people received it? How did you see the difference from here and abroad?
So I can talk about 2 phases in let's say in Europe, because I did one exhibition in the city and another one in the village. What we can say the village, because there, first of all, let's say in the city, people, they have seen a lot. They've seen a lot, but they didn't know about a guy from Kigali. What could bring? But they was curious. They was deeply curious on seeing what this guy is bringing, because many people, they thought we are still in the time of the genocide. They ask you, oh, how did you escape? How did you get here? And you're like, are you guys still thinking like this? So it wasn't about most of my work. And so that taught me on how to do my second exhibition. So when I did the second exhibition, I did it in the village, where it was different. Some of the people in the village, they didn't want to talk to me because they wanted me to talk their language, and I didn't know in German. So it was kind of blocking me, because the people in the city, they speak English, it's okay, they can communicate, but they ask you a lot of questions. The people in the village are so reserved. They don't want to talk in other language, and also they have something of blocking themselves, because they think they know, they just like the comfortability of where they live. So that's brought another change from my third exhibition, and that's where I got the success of the exhibition I've done, because the 2 I've done in before, like I can say it wasn't successful. It was successful to get the people, but sometimes when you invest so much money, so much time, you need the payback.
Of course.
So for me to do an exhibition and you don't get any penny and you paid for the flight, you pay for this kind of thing, it was kind of a loss. And I was like, I can't go back home like this.
Yeah.
So my main focus was like, I have to find a way to interact with these people. Also, that's for me, I found as a university, because the way we learned to do by being in a situation where it pushes us to communicate, to engage with the community and also the art lovers.
Yeah.
So the third one was, I learned that I have to do an introduction to talk about where I came from, because most of the people, they saw a guy from Kigali, but they just hanging work. So for me, I found like empty meaning. Like there wasn't no meaning. So what I did was, we did a talk. We did a kind of press conference, and I was talking about where I come from, telling them more about me, and yeah. I think then when they understood who is the guy, where he come from, so then I took them to my art. There was 2 rooms. We started from this room, talking about where I'm from, who I am, and then after we went to the second room where there was my work. So the people, they could refer the work to the story they got. So that was straight on the point, and then people was buying artworks. You saw that the people was even like really open to me, wanting to talk to me, inviting me in their house to come in next day to talk, to have a meal with them. So that was something different. Also, like the whole experience in Europe was also another different experience from home.
Okay.
Because home is different. Like home people know you.
But before we go home,
okay,
like how did you feel? Like how did you feel that experience, seeing people actually getting engaged in your art, you know, and people that didn't grow the same way as you grew, you know, don't speak the same language, the same other language, you know, how did you feel at that time?
For me, what inspired me, you could see the transfer of the story. Like you could see, they could feel something. It wasn't just seeing a picture hanging on the wall. You could see that they are seeing like the pain, the message you're giving. Like, because you could see somebody seeing like a painting of a woman sitting, and then you see that they are going deep inside. They want to feel that what the person in the work is feeling, and they want to know how you felt when he was working like that. So for me, it pushed me to think about what you are doing is not just doing, it changed the life of people. And also they go deeper in it, because we are transferring a message, and when we are transferring a message, it has to catch you emotionally and physically somehow. But and also most of the time people have to just connect with it mentally. So there's where I believe art can help people. Those 3 ways to go with it.
So now we come back here, like now we talk about that time. Like that time, how did you feel like people used to receive your art?
In that time, I can say like we were hungry dogs. Like we wanted just to be seen on the platform. They say this guy, he have done an exhibition, but then we wasn't aware on what we are selling or what we are showing, because with the time I've spent in art, that's when we started to learn what have to be shown, what have to be out there. So by that time I could just count how many paintings do I have. Okay, I have 10. Okay, let's do an exhibition. It wasn't about the content, but now it's different because we are selling the stories, not the content. Because not the amount of work you have. Because some people, they want to sell the amount of artwork, but they without stories. And I believe when you're giving something with story, it's hit different.
No, definitely, definitely. Because I feel like also when it comes to just the realness, you know, the realness in the art, and it also heals you, you know, as you say. And I feel like the position you have as an artist, you know, in Rwanda, and I've been looking at your work, you know, you've been inspiring a lot of people, that's a fact, and I feel like now at this experience that you have, like after all these years doing what you do, so because you mentioned that before it was about just to get your name out there. Now that your name is out there, now what is the purpose now? Is to like share more of like your experiences, or share more of your emotional side, or I don't know, like how do you do it with your work right
is
now?
to share more the knowledge. I mean, it's different. Like on the journey with art, for me is different. But the journey with me as a Willy to other artists is also different, because my work, I will keep trying to inspire people with whatever takes my mind to tell, because I'm a storyteller.
Yeah.
And the other things, when I'm talking to the artist, I tell them to not fall in the same struggle we fall in, because we didn't have elders to tell us what to do in that situation. So for me, I think we have to be the bridge of the young generation coming. We talk with them, like that's why we open spaces to communicate with the coming artists, and also we try to fill the gap with the elders artists, because I mean there is a big gap in Rwandan art, because you may find artists with 50 something, but it's so hard in Rwanda to find an artist with 40. It's so hard. There's artists with 30 something, but it's so hard to find artists who have 30. 40. Yeah, it's so hard. Like we have artists under 30 and 50. So there is a gap because of the tragic history we have. I think there's some part we have to fill. So I think we, the young artists, we have to approach the elders to talk, and then we'll learn from them directly, because I think there's so many they have to give us as info. And the problem with the generation today, we are not seeking to know them and to talk to them. But then the problem is like, if you don't have information, you're not going anywhere, because information is the expensive things you ever have. So, and meanwhile, we are seeking to get the info from the elders. We still have to give for the young generation, the people coming after us, because the people coming after us, they're coming with so much energy. And you feel like these guys, they don't have to fall in the trench where I felt long ago. So what I have to do is to communicate to them and also get the info there. It's kind of try to combine. We are the middleman giving there and there. So I think like that's the key today to the artist, giving other artists. But there's also other artists who doesn't want to share, but for me, I feel like I really want to share my journey and also to inspire. It's always good for me to so I also feel proud when I see somebody say like I was inspired, I was given this by this guy. So for me, I felt blessed. It's not that I'm seeking of blessings, but it's just because I feel like I made an impact in this guy's life. Of course. So it's feeds your soul.
Yeah, and I feel like as an artist also, that's one of the things that can keep pushing you going, just the feeling of knowing that you've played a big part in somebody's life.
Yeah. I mean you can play a part in somebody's life, but at the end of the day it change, because everybody have his own path. Yeah. But the good thing is like, how did you influence that path of he has or she has? So for me, I believe we have a long journey, especially in Rwanda, where the country is still new. I mean, we have a big tax to show the world, because in Rwanda already we are doing something, and everybody, I think they are busy doing something, but we have to be out there to the whole world. Because let's say like in France, you see visit Rwanda, in many places visit Rwanda, but then there's no artists known from the country. Is something I feel like we are missing. Because let's say if you're talking about Austria or maybe any other country, like the Netherlands then is known by Van Gogh. If you say Van Gogh is the Netherlands, The whole picture of the country is one God. And here there is artists who have done a lot, but you don't see them anywhere. So I think like we still have a journey to go. It's a process with no rush. We just have to know our mission and our goals. So we keep focus on that.
Because I feel like with culture we are very rich, you know, and we have a lot of things to offer the world.
But we are not doing so.
So one day at a time. You know, and when you mention this, I'm happy because people get to hear this, you know, and they get to actually think about it and see what can we do as artists to people who love art and people who support art. What can they do for us, you know? So all of us together, one day at a time.
It's just the thing is we have to put together. Sit. We don't brainstorm much here. I think before we do something, we should sit, put the vision together, and everybody know its own task, and then we just try to discover, because art is kind of discovery. Like we are always playing with tools, with trying to do things and see what you can do, what you cannot do. And at the end of the day, you create something which you didn't believe can be like that.
Now let's talk about the COVID times, you know, and now we finished. We are not in COVID, you know, anymore. But some of the episodes earlier, you know, I used to ask people like, how was your experience during the COVID? But then for me, the question is like, after the COVID, like, how do you feel? Do you feel like life has changed, like completely, or it just came back to how it was?
So to be honest, this is the topic I'm working on right now. By saying tomorrow I'm having an exhibition actually. And it's talking about that, about the how the COVID affected me as an artist after it was finished. And I think I name it like the depression or mental health. But to be honest, as you asked, yes, the life has changed after the COVID. The life has changed so much. I can talk about myself, not for many people. I was affected differently, but for me, I started. I think with my mental health, I didn't know what is mental health actually, to be honest, and then recently I was reading books, and then I was reading what is mental health, what is depression, those kind of things, and then I was like, actually I may be depressed, it's just because I don't know. Then because you change the character, you change everything, and then you're doing things which is not you, and then you are just trying to hide yourself into something, in pleasure, in just things which is not your own decision, and mainly because you don't have a right things to think about or the right things to focus on. So for me, I saw that in a way I'm depressed, and in a way I have a mental health issue. So that's why I started to say, let me restore myself, because as an artist since 2020 I never done an exhibition, and for me I felt like as an artist who was doing many exhibitions a year, how did I survive actually?
To have 2 years or 1 year?
It's like 3 years actually.
3 years without an exhibition.
So for me, I was like, I never thought about this, because when I started to do my first exhibition, I was like, I will do 2 exhibitions a year. Different works, different vibe, different things. And then I was like, am I dying? Am I losing the sense of creativity? So it started questioning a lot of question about me, myself, and where my work, and wondering where's my work. So I named my exhibition the self-restoration. It's like to restore yourself again. So I named it the 50 days because I had to restore myself in 50 days. So giving myself the journey of 50 days self-restoration, it was also a journey of me painting one painting a day for 50 days. So in the exhibition I will be exhibiting 50 days, 50 paintings. So you can see the changes, because this push you to the self-discipline and also self-care, because whatever if you keep doing what you do, but the good thing is like you have a responsibility to finish a work a day.
Yeah.
Whatever happened, you still have to finish your work and then do whatever you want to do. But the good thing was to be responsible. So you can see through my work, you can see in the beginning of the work, I could do a work and I not finish because I'm not used to that, and then just go.
Yeah.
There's so many work you will see that is not done, but I just wanted to finish it and to give myself an idea that the work is done, but the work is not just done. There is other work you will see that I spent so much time on them because I was home and I was there. I just kept focus on them. There's other works you will see that this beyond like creativity, because you think and then you just spend so much time on it, because the work is a process of applying paint on a surface. So for me it was just being crazy, just I wanted to feel crazy doing the madness I wanted to do. Then till now the work are not done, and I'm just putting small touches. Yeah, but you can see if you pass through the whole work. I want to make them as puzzles. I don't want to put them as on the line that people see it like here he was painting good. I want people just to feel it when they see it, because when you put it on the line, the people is kind of already tell you how your emotion went up and down.
Yeah.
So for me, I want people to connect with the work, which is talking to them, my situation that time. So I believe for me it was a kind of a way to awake my or boost my energy or my spirit of creating. And now I feel like coming back, I'm feeling like now this is kind of for warm up. I feel like it was a warm up, but now I feel like I'm ready to do something, because I'm preparing a next exhibition next year about the environmental things. But now it's just because this was me working on myself, because as we always say, let's change the world, but you can't change the world when you can't change yourself. So the main focus is to work on the self, and then to take care of the others around us. Okay. So because we can't take care of the other people around us when you can't take care of yourself.
No, definitely.
Yeah.
And so how was that warm-up, because the warm-up must have been not easy. You had days where your energy was up, you had days where your energy was down, or days where you actually didn't feel like painting. How did you push yourself in that process?
For me, what happened was I wanted to focus on the responsibility of creating one work. I didn't want to push my feelings, because I wanted to just work with my feelings. Any feelings I may have, I just keep working with it. So the responsibility I had was to do one work, however I feel. If I feel bad, I just do it the way it is. If I feel good, I just do it the way it is. So there's no specific message I wanted to give. It's me transferring my emotions, whatever I'm feeling at that time, to a canvas. I didn't want to be so specific. This is like this, or maybe I have to feel good, or I have to paint a beautiful painting, because I don't know what is beauty in art, but I believe in the message transferred. So yeah, I mean, in Rwanda, many people, they say, chinikiza, which means this is beautiful, but in art I feel like art has to catch you emotionally, and most of the beautiful things I don't think have emotions. So it's just beauty. It's beauty.
Yeah, going to your point, I feel like people in general, we sometimes look at the beauty, and I wonder if that is something that maybe because we actually don't take time, to actually look at the art and maybe try to reflect and try to imagine, explore, do an exploring with thoughts, But that's a thing also, so sometimes you just look at the art and you're like, maybe this matches my couch, this matches the wall I have at my house or anywhere,
Yeah, so art is very huge, and the thing is, we don't know, or maybe the people who sees it, they don't know how to classify art, because there is decoration, there is art, conceptual art, there is a different type of art, but then there's some people who sees it as decorators. Like, this is matching my house, that's as what you say.
Yeah.
This color goes well with my chair, that's decorating. But then there is conceptual art, which is talking to you straight, talking to you, you see yourself in it. And there is also other commission work where the people just tell them their story. They just want to document their story as a memory card and then get paid and then bring it back.
Yeah.
But in Rwanda, if I say in Rwanda, because we are here, the main problem is a lack of info on what we call art.
Yeah.
Because if you say we use art mainly as decoration in Rwanda, if you go in the culture, we use art as decoration because we was using mainly art to paint our house, the migongo, the whatever we was doing with art was just to make our house look beautiful. It wasn't about a story we got from somebody or just being inspired by somebody's story. So in our culture, decorating a house is something huge. That's why everything, if some person like your what, that's the first thing coming in their mind. This is beautiful, goes well with my house, because they feel like it's a culture thing they are having, so cultural, because that's how things have been since long ago. But then we believe, for me, I believe art is beyond that. It's beyond beauty, because we also have to document the pain. We also have to be real, because it's not everything has to be beautiful. Even our life, we can reflect on our life. There's good and bad.
Yeah.
So you either choose what you want to become. And also the people who do good things, they also have bad times. So I cannot only work when everything is good. So for me, I always work with my mood. However I feel, I create. So the thing is to always create and to capture all the emotions, the good, the bad, whatever comes in your mind, you just do that. I didn't want to control my feelings, I just put there my feelings.
Dope.
Yeah.
So now, this is a question actually I never ask people, really outside of art, who is really, be outside of being an artist and just being a guy.
The problem is when you do art is always in you, because let's say, like, everywhere I am, I may be inspired. I can go play pool, and then the thing with me, I observe a lot, and then if somebody pass, I'm looking everything details, because me, I see things in details. I like details so much, because I look at you and know you have this and this, and we never talked about it, but I seen. I don't talk, but I respond in my work. So that's me. But also sometimes when I don't want to, I like to play pool, as I mentioned, pool. I also love to watch movies, and deep inside, I love to travel. So, because for me, I never went to university, but I believe I'm learning. I'm in the university now, because there's so many things I learned people from the university doesn't know, and I learned that by traveling. So university is like my school, like which teach me life, and I mean, we are dealing with life. We are not dealing with school, because
So talking about traveling, some people are really afraid to travel. They feel like, oh, maybe it's dangerous, it's so expensive, why would I travel? Like, what are the benefits that you get from traveling, like traveling itself?
So with the cultures of each places is I mean, when you go in another place, you see what you don't see home, which is a knowledge already. Knowledge is not something people easily pay for, but you're willing to go for that knowledge. And there's no street knowledge, like whatever you go through in the life around, is something you don't pay for. And is the key of traveling. Like when you're traveling, you see new things, and when you come back home, let's say I was recently watching a movie about the Vikings, and those people was travelers, and then the great Vikings to be admired home, he could just go take a boat, go to another place, and when he comes back, everybody's seated because they want him to tell stories. So most of the big Vikings, they were telling stories to their kids only because they wanted their kids to have a lot of knowledge than the other one, and also to think differently. So if there was some Vikings who, if you was a son of a great Viking, there was also respecting your kids, because they say like these kids also may have the knowledge as their father. So they respected you in that level because they believe this guy have seen a lot. So for me, I have beneficial a lot on traveling because of what I learned, how I learned to behave, the food, the communication, because we communicate differently, and so many things. Because the greatest things in life is how we communicate. Because if we can't communicate, we are not doing anything.
No.
So for me, you can't learn communicating if you don't see a lot of people, unless you have your own perspective of seeing things and you want to defend that. That's when it's so hard. But that's why it's so hard for some people to travel. But when you travel, you learn because you're in another place and you have to follow how they communicate. So I guess for me it's a class.
Yes, and I agree, and I feel like it is always a treasure, to end up somewhere, new language, new food, new people. It also challenges you to come out of your comfort zone, to get to actually be like, okay, I can do this
enough
here at home, but this I can't do this at this certain place, Nice. What a journey.
It's setting yourself free.
What a journey, So, Willy, and your journey, like everything you've been through, what is one of the most biggest lessons have you got as an artist, in terms of like life? If you would want to give an advice to a young Willy who is out there, who is actually so hungry, so excited to but so afraid also to jump in this art world, but they have so much things to offer with your experience.
For me, it's something I still use today. Whatever I want, you don't get. Whatever you want, you don't get. So you have to accept to move on, because there's so many other ways to find out. Because for me, as an artist, I was sick to show my work. I was always wanting to show my work, and every time I was trying to apply for places to do exhibition. I talk with you, you have a space, you tell me, come bring your work, it's okay. Tomorrow I come, you say no. Some people, they are so polite not to say no like that, but they tell you, go home, send me an email. You send an email, you are waiting for a week, you go back again, they tell you, did you send the email? I didn't see it, can you send it again? You do it again until you say no to yourself. So for me, with that lesson, I was like, for me, I will try to always do what I can do with my possibility, with what I can afford. But what you have to do is just to stick on your goal. Because whatever happens, if you don't know where you're going, you're not doing anything. So I believe the hardest things to do is just to keep on moving. because anyway, you get success, you get people who shoot you down, like people who want you back to their level, because when you are growing bigger, and there's some people who want to stay there. So if you're going and these people they see you up there, you was together on the same level, they always like, come back, and they are putting so much weight on your shoulders to go down.
True.
So it's like, just keep moving on. Yeah.
So never give up.
Yeah, it's not giving up, but just go in front. You can look to some people, you try to support them, or you try to work with them. If you see that there's no change, you just keep going in front, because there is where we seek new things, because we as human, we are made of always wanting more, and I think that's something we have in us. Is not something we want to do, is we always want more. So because today you may have a car, and tomorrow you have a house, but tomorrow you will need an hotel. So people always want more. So that's how I will give my idea to everybody around the world.
Amazing. You know, this was amazing, having this time with you, getting to talk about mental health, because I feel like right now mental health is this really serious subject that we should talk about, and I can't wait to see your work, to see all those work and how you went those 50 days process, and for people also looking forward for people to see it, and get to actually, I hope they can get something out of it, For me, the thing is also, I did open a space in between. I mean, my journey when it was off, when the lockdown came, then when I started to think about those kind of things, and then I was like, let me just open a space where people will be coming, because I was feeling lonely. Let me just open a place where artists will be coming, paint, things like this. Then since then, I have hosted a lot of artists, really a lot of artists, and for me, I'm happy, and I'm still happy for. I think that's one of my biggest achievements already in the art, because there's no way I may feel so good than an artist who is happy to showcase his work. So I'm so happy that all of that have been through me. But the question was like, I have a place which also hosts other artists. Me as an artist, I never did something there. So for me, it was a little big question of myself, like, how do I have a space? I never did an exhibition. So for me, I'm also looking forward to see my work in my house. Yes. So in my studio actually. Nice. So I'm looking forward to see also how, because this is my first time I'm going to invite people in this place, and then they look my work there. Amazing.
Because I never invited anybody to see my work.
And you can also share like the address for people who don't actually the space. Where is the space for people who are listening?
So the place is named Indiba Arts Space. Is based in Kimihurura, Rugando, KG 607. Okay. So when you're just going that road, you see it behind Inga Steakhouse.
Yes, it's actually easy to find. Yeah.
So we are looking forward to see how the press grow, because already now is 2 years there, and you can see the changes. So I'm hungry to see how the place will look in 10 years, if I'm lucky to still have the place. But I want to keep pushing and see how the place will look like.
Amazing. Amazing. Thank you so much,
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for people listening to us, always a pleasure, Doing a podcast, it feels like you're talking to so many strangers, You're talking to friends, but you're also talking to strangers, so you don't know who you are talking to.
Always talking to yourself too.
But it's also so fascinating, because it makes me happy to know actually there's something out there that we are doing that is helping people, that is actually maybe helping our community also as artists, to get to know each other, to get to actually know, this is what Willy is up to, this is what he's doing, So Yeah, amazing. You know, big up to all our listeners. Big up to everybody who take their time to actually subscribe and tune in and listen to our podcast. You know, you can always find our podcast to all audio big major like audio platforms. You know, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and so many. And we have a YouTube channel, The Journey Podcast. You know, so you can go there and subscribe. We need actually more followers, guys. Please go subscribe and like and share, because I feel like this is a podcast that is gonna be big one day. I mean, I said it one day. It's the number one podcast in the country, you know, and I'm not gonna go down. It's the number one, and I'm so excited always, and so grateful for you guys. You know, all I want you guys, just keep showing me some love and showing the artists love, and I'll always bring you artists that I feel like are playing something in this industry. And there are so many people that I want to bring here that I haven't brought here, so which makes me excited. Inshallah, God gives me life, and God give all us a long time to live, and we keep doing this. You know, we keep inspiring generations and see how this 250 land of ours, how we can make it shiny, you know, always shiny. Blessings, man. Thank you so much, bro.
Thank you so much.
Blessings, you know, and
I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah.
And you invite and share the story.
Me too. You know, this is history making, because I feel like 10 years back, we look at each other, we're young, I see you're doing your thing, I'm doing my thing, but then here we are sitting, we're talking. It actually means we have done something, and actually we are doing something at the same time, you know.
We're talking about what we have been doing.
Only time will tell, you know, and that's it. And so if people want to follow you on Instagram, Twitter, like Facebook, your handles.
So I use the same name, Willy Karekezi. Everything is the same as Willy Karekezi. You can find me, Willy Karekezi.
Nice. Dope. Thank you guys so much. Thank you to the whole team. You know, thank you to Hervé. Thank you to Andrew Kazivge. You know, you are in the studio today. You gave us a visit. Amazing.
The guest of honor.
Thank you to everybody looking at us on YouTube, and people listening to us. Much love and respect. You were listening to the number one podcast in the country, The Journey Podcast, and that was your host, Manzimba. I see you to the next episode. Murakoze cyane. Yo, man. This